In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
I am Rachel Ruth Tate, and this is Text Astrology. Hello and happy day to all of you out there. Here we are in the middle of the eclipse portal, and I am hoping it has been treating you as well as humanly possible. As always, I'm Rachel Ruth, Text Astrologer at your service. Welcome to today's installment of the podcast. In this episode of the show, we're talking about the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, happening on Tuesday, November 8th at 5:03 a.m. Central Standard Time at 16 degrees of Taurus. This is an interesting part of the sky for us to be talking about an eclipse inside of, because the moon is exalted in Taurus. La Luna typically lives her very, very best life in Venus's fixed earth yin home sign of fertility, Taurus. And the moon also rules the second decan, or 10-degree increment, of that sign that the eclipse takes place inside of at 16 degrees Taurus. Not to mention, the moon is the nighttime triplicity ruler of earth signs. Yes, I would usually say a full moon here should be a downright lovely thing. But this November 8th eclipse, this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, it will be a total eclipse. The moon will be fully eclipsed, fully reddened by the shadow of the earth between it and the sun in Scorpio, the sign in which we just had our partial solar eclipse at 2 degrees of Scorpio last lunation. This Taurus eclipse is total because the north node is located now at 13 degrees of Taurus, while the moon itself is at 16 degrees, and 3 degrees constitutes a traditional conjunction, and therefore physically presents actually as an apparent total eclipse. For those of us here in Waco, Dallas, Texas, or anywhere west of the Central Standard Time Zone, guess what? You will be able to see this eclipse and its apparent totality if you wish to get up a little early or stay up a lot late. The eclipse begins at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time and ends at 7 a.m. with the apex, or the total reddening, occurring at 5 a.m. Not saying you need to go see it with your eyes. Some astrologers, and many I greatly respect, they consider eclipses to be inherently malefic or bad. Thus, not a full moon you should cleanse your stones underneath, do a ritual with, or hold an event for. but that has not been exactly my experience. In both my lived experience and in my astrological inquiry, I have found eclipses to be almost Uranian, very disruptive in their nature, not inherently malefic, more an interruption in programming, as I will often say verbatim. They can be life-changing if they relate to your natal promise, your birth chart, very directly. But life change can be a good thing. And in the case of eclipses, whatever they are is unstoppable and so much bigger and further beyond us. I'm of the mind to accept them as true and learn from what the eclipse shakeups unearth or inject. And while I'm mentioning Uranus and that disruption archetype, it has to be stated up front in this podcast that this full moon eclipse in Taurus also happens to be exactly conjunct the planet of Uranus, this lunation. The very same transpersonal planetary lord of shock, change, and yes, disruption. And this conjunction is tight. Like, it's to the exact degree tight. So right off, it will be virtually impossible to say what to expect for this moon right here. That's right, expectation, which is typical of security-oriented Taurus, the second sign in the zodiac associated with Venus's material bounty. Yes, expectation itself will be out the window with a totally eclipsed moon on top of unpredictable Uranus. It's beyond hard to divine what's inherently unpredictable, so I won't try. But that doesn't mean that there is no value, and value is another Taurus thing. That doesn't mean there is no value in breaking down this lunation into its thematic parts, just because we aren't sure and we can't be sure. The context provided by the symbolism in the stars is still going to be helpful and comforting, and Taurus likes comfort. As above, so below with astrology, and when shit is crazy up there, we can be sure it's going to get hectic down here, so comfort's good. And it will indeed get crazy, this syzygy, make no mistake. Even though transpersonal planets, of which Uranus is one, they typically affect us all and all at once and tend to be less individually activating. But if you have planets near 16 degrees Taurus or Scorpio, there may be some wild changes coming for you. Now let it be known that shocking Uranus takes 84 years to go around the zodiac, and it's been in the typically stable fixed earth sign of Taurus since 2018. So this transit of Uranus through Taurus will not be over until 2026. And it won't happen again in our lifetimes unless we are currently babies who are destined to be long-lived. But most of us are right smack dab in the middle of our first and last Uranus in Taurus period. Oh, yes, and the one before this, if you were wondering, this was on and off happening, Uranus in Taurus, from 1934 to 1942. And that makes sense given the state of things, right? The Taurus archetype represents stuff like fertility of the earth and our food supply, the security of our economy and banking, the stability and availability of housing on the housing market, our global supply chains for goods, etc., our consumers and their consumables. Very, very Taurus. And have you noticed all those sorts of things I just mentioned being pretty inconsistent, insanely inconsistent since 2018 and the entrance of Uranus into Taurus? Now you're getting the Uranian vibe. Wall Street stocks are up. Now they're down. Home building like gangbusters and a crazy high housing market. Taxes up and now plummeting down like a rock. Currency valuations being volatile. The British pound goes to shit. Now we have Rishi Sunak and it's better, but we don't like him either. He's an elitist married to an heiress so rich the Prime Minister of England is now richer than King Charles. What? You get it. We have material and security issues and global unpredictability, which we totally had back in the 1930s and early 40s for damn sure. And we may be in for some other more personal issues this eclipse as well, less historical, as there is another planetary conjunction in this Taurus eclipse mix. We have Mercury at 15 degrees Scorpio, conjoined the Sun at 16 degrees Scorpio. Mercury, the super swift moving tiny messenger planet that represents our expression, communication, and commerce. So the transiting Mercury is actually conjoined the Sun at the time of the eclipse, and it goes perfectly cazimi, so literally right there at the same degree and degree minute, just hours after the moon is full. This has breakthrough energy written all over it. Now let me explain. When a planet is cazimi, it is in the heart of the sun, illuminated on all sides and enthroned in the golden light of solar power. But when it's between 1 and 17 degrees away, it's just combust. It's just outshined by the sun, not exalted at the center of heavenly light. No, its meanings are simply overpowered by the brightness of the sun. Now, Mercury in Scorpio will be about to go cazimi as this eclipse happens, like so close, like I said. We will be approaching a moment of mental clarity, Mercury, and perhaps a deep philosophical or intellectual rebirth at the time of the eclipse. A rebirth is a death and a birth in one, mind you. So our minds are about to get blown. And let me say, every time a planet makes a cazimi with the sun, it is reborn like a phoenix on the other side. The unnecessary layers burned away in its trial by fire in its journey toward the sun. Intense. So our minds, our Mercury, will be on fire when this eclipse happens, even though it's in the fixed water sign, about to make some kind of deep, painful, and necessary mental, emotional, psychological realization that will allow us to be reborn into greater understanding of the truth of ourselves and all things. Mercury and Scorpio cazimi stuff. Think deep personal revelations and perhaps shocking ones, because Mercury and the Sun in Scorpio are facing down Uranus and the Moon in Taurus this lunation. We will definitely be more clear on what's upsetting us and where we feel the emotional disruption. That's one thing oppositions are good for, getting a clear view of what the heck you're up against. And let's face it, if there is going to be an opposition to your aims, you'd take the chance to size up the opponent simply because there is one. And strategy, Scorpio stuff. Which brings us to the last important bit of this lunar eclipse lunation astrology. A big ol' 90 degrees square of all of the aforementioned. I repeat, all of the aforementioned themes. Take all the stuff I just said and then pit it perpendicular in your own life against the social malefic Saturn in its own sign at 18 degrees of fixed air Aquarius, which is 2 degrees off from the full tension of an exact square, just 2 degrees. And what does that mean? Well, this eclipse contains what we call a T-square in astrology, an opposition and two squares that you can count on for a full right triangle of intense tension, one which contains a struggle to find center beneath the weight of that heavily activated configuration. And this eclipse, we have Mercury and the Sun in Scorpio opposite to Uranus and the Moon in Taurus, square to Saturn in Aquarius, all tight within 2 degrees. We are struggling to reconcile the intense material change that has us stuck in relationship to some authority or has us questioning our very place in society currently. And the authority, Saturn, in its assertive social yang domicile of Aquarius, is demanding. We are being held to account in some way or another and are going to be forced to do new things and make hard choices in order to just plain get through whatever big dilemma we've got to get through. Look for the Aquarius in your own chart. That's the crux of it. That, at this time, long sore pain point, that Aquarius stuff. And it also tells us where our relief valve is. There is only one way to balance a T-square, and that is by completing the Grand Cross. What sign completes the square of the current triangle made by Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you ask? Leo. It's your Leo house's time to shine and your time to lean into it. With that square complete, you'll find the middle ground, that place where the balance is sustainable and you can either continue your struggle or right the ship so you're at least sailing straight to get through the celestial storm. And Leo is the sign of the sun, so shine it will. That's my secret astrologer antidote to what ails you this syzygy. Lean into your Leo and get ready to bear your version of the cross. We all are. How can the one be carefree when the all is full of concern? And that's not to say we should walk around heavy, hence the Leo emphasis. Leo's not heavy. Put your hand on your heart when things get wild and find the light and the joy where you can and follow the energy of life itself, whatever animates you. That North Star of hope and sustained force will not lead you the wrong way. And now that I have gone on for longer than perhaps most attention spans allow in 2022, let's simplify and speak about what the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus portends for your sign specifically and get into our horoscopes. We are on mantra horoscopes as a tool to use through the tough sky weather as they've been getting good reviews. I've aimed this particular batch at helping you lean into the Leo remedial release valve I just described. Please use your rising sign for these horoscopes as that speaks to the first house of self and personhood, but your sun or moon sign will work all right too. So, this cycle for all 12 signs as your mantra for success. Aries. I am the joy I wish to feel. Taurus. I have deep roots which center me. Gemini. I have a very powerful voice. Cancer. I possess all I need to succeed. Leo. I am the strength I seek. Virgo. I am the light in the dark. Libra. I complete each group I join. Scorpio. I lead by example. Sagittarius. I live in eternal hope. Capricorn. I share powerful energy. Aquarius. I can be the brave one. Pisces. I shine as I serve. And those are your mantras to repeat this syzygy. Try repeating one that resonates while we take a brief sponsor break.
You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
And hello again. Here we are back at Rogue Media Network and this episode of Text Astrology. Let us move straight into our top 3 transits to track over the next lunar cycle. And there will be a theme. Number 1, Venus enters Sagittarius on Wednesday, November 16th at 12:04 a.m. Central Standard Time, where she will stay until moving into Capricorn on December 9th of this year. And now we get to the sweet part of the show, finally, after several episodes. Really, Venus in Sagittarius, Sagittarius being the 9th sign in the zodiac, our mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter and represented by the Centaur Archer. So Venus, our personal benefic planet of love and beauty, transitioning into Sagittarius from the 8th sign Scorpio, is always, I repeat, always, a substantial regular upgrade and a lightening of the collective mood each time it happens. In doing so, Venus goes from one of her signs of detriment or difficulty, which both of Mars's signs, Aries and Scorpio, are. So she goes from a rough spot, especially with the eclipses happening along the Taurus-Scorpio axis at this moment. Venus, goes from that tough terrain into a fun-loving fire sign ruled by the greater benefic Jupiter, one of the good guys, and it's going to feel like a burst of joy this year. Remember, Venus just completed her Cazimi with the Sun also. Her regular rebirthing cycle of cleansing and purification in Libra and Scorpio. So they went together, Cazimi actually crossing the sign boundary, which is very, very unusual. And then Venus completed the underworld journey by coming out the other side. And now she's heading on her own, gaining speed and leaving the combustion of the sun and the ashes of her former form behind. She's still combust, but reborn like a phoenix in the mutable fire world of spiritual and high-spirited Sagittarius. While Venus has little traditional power or hindrance in Sagittarius, it's sort of a neutral positive for her on the whole. Venus in Sagittarius is like a good time girl, a quest, a game, a race, a thrill, a passion project, a competition, that type of thing. So while Venus just has one Egyptian bound or term in Sagittarius, that's it, we do have to consider that the ruler of Sagittarius, good old Jupiter just re-entered his other home sign of Pisces, the last sign in the zodiac. So it's good for Venus in Jupiter's castle Sagittarius when the king is also home safe in his other crib, Pisces, even if he's a bit depressed or down, as Jupiter is retrograde in motion right now, remember, heading backwards. So the collective benefit, our Jupiterian higher good, is taking a moment to have a good cry and heal up in Pisces, mutable water, before we head back out to Mars-ruled Aries, whooping self-righteously as Jupiter gives its battle cry to charge ahead post-retreat. As it will. Get ready. But a 90-degree dynamic square aspect to Jupiter from Venus, which will be the deal. That'll be the deal for the entirety of this Venus in Sag transit. It might also feel a little bit like overdoing it with pleasure things. Too much partying. Overindulging in food, bev, other intoxicants. Overestimating rewards. Being overly optimistic in the face of an issue. Remember, Mars is also squaring Jupiter and opposite to Venus, as Mars moves retrograde in Gemini as well. We may be trying to mentally deal with something. Mars and Gemini stuff is all about the mind and really not being realistic with that ebullient benefic square. It is possible to get one's hopes too high, especially with Neptune conjoined Jupiter for the whole of its dip back into Pisces and the whole of this Venus in Sagittarius transit. So Neptune fogs up the mirror and blurs the boundaries and lines. So I say again, moderation, moderation, moderation. Enjoy the good mood during this Venus in Sag time and do just what I said earlier. Play, learn, travel, explore. Do whatever sets your heart on fire and then bring it down to earth. The only way to balance our T-square here, yes, we have another one, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, the only way to balance it is to add that Mercury and Virgo energy that completes the mutable cross and helps us find the center. Pro tip, keep your bank account balanced and your chores done, and that smile will only upturn throughout this Venus and Sagittarius transit. Second transit. Mercury enters Sagittarius on Thursday, November 17th at 2:38 a.m. Central Standard Time, where it will remain until December 6th, transitioning into the next sign of Capricorn just days before Venus does. Hey, another planet joins the nascent Sagittarius soiree, and just one day later, these two, Mercury and Venus, are traveling together through the sign. So please apply everything I just said about the Virgo energy balancing the Grand Cross to this Mercury and Sag transit, please, especially because Mercury is actually in detriment or hindered when trying to express itself in Sagittarius, pun intended. Luckily, by the time Mercury enters Sag, the moon will have moved from Leo into Virgo. So first we get the moon making a fire trine, an easy, juicy 120-degree aspect with Venus by sign when Venus enters Sagittarius and when she gets her big upgrade, sexy, spiritual energy. And then we complete the Grand Cross Balance Challenge with the moon in Virgo when Mercury enters Sag, where it's squared. So Mercury there is debilitated and should accept any and all Virgoan help. If you know your Virgos, keep them close right now. So thank you, moon. Feel into that first day or two of that moon in Virgo when Mercury enters Sagittarius. And remember that emotional state and its mental hygiene requirements when you're looking for relief later in November, if you've overdone it, perhaps. So what is Mercury in Sagittarius like, you ask? Well, take the ideaphoria of its home sign, mutable air Gemini, and the precision of its other home sign of mutable earth Virgo, Mercury signs, and then try to apply that to all things spiritual or higher knowledge related. And yes, that goes just about as well as you'd think. Mercury in Sag so badly wants to put its words to its divine experiences. It would love to verbalize God. The Centaur Archer will also do anything to hit the target, even perhaps if those ends don't justify their means. Mercury in Sagittarius will get a crazy idea for a quest in its head, and there's no talking that Mercury out of its wild idea of a pilgrimage or pursuit of a passion. And remember, the root word for passion is the Latin word pati, which means suffer. And Mercury in Sag definitely suffers for all its seeking, like curiosity killing the cat. While this transit is in effect, take heed, and like I said with Venus, moderate your passions, literally. Recognize that the urgency behind some of what the mind is playing with is artificial. You don't have to do all the certifications or attend all the yoga classes or apply to all the grad schools or make all the altars or visit all the places to make progress, just like you don't have to win all the games or be the best player in the world to enjoy the sport. And again, heed my warning about the Neptune square from over there in late Pisces. Some strange things, Neptune's territory, may seem like a good idea while Mercury's in Sag, but remember, Sagittarius is mutable, so those ideas might not be as easy to initiate, which is a cardinal quality, or sustain, a fixed quality, especially with Mars opposite to Sagittarius over there in Gemini. It feels like the way to use this Mercury transit through Sagittarius is as a deep breath, a bright warmth in the mind of inspiration and ease in allowing or releasing into the spiritual, artistic elements of your life journey. Mercury just made its Cazimi conjunction with the sun as well, so feel into those Phoenix vibes. In Sagittarius, we have permission to enjoy endings. We have permission to play even as we grieve. And we can celebrate the beauty of our society, our togetherness against the backdrop of division, that Mars retrograde opposition again. But keep in mind, Saturn direct in Aquarius is making a supportive 60-degree sextile aspect, soft stuff, to all of the Sagittarius business by sign. So there is the potential to lighten your load, so to speak, Saturn being your social burden. It's possible to get your mind and heart right in such a way that will make these mutable and fixed squares more bearable. We have the chance to be happy for real. And a lot of that feels like gratitude and intention. With a new moon in Sagittarius coming up next lunation, yay! There's a lot to be grateful for. The end of the current eclipses, Jupiter in its home sign of Pisces, Venus getting the heck out of Scorpio. We can just be hopeful and joyful, or that's at least easier to access and offer in our own high spirits. And it should feel good. Don't apologize for feeling good. With Mercury in Sagittarius, all we have to do is temper that good time with good sense, and we are golden. Speaking of golden, third transit, the sun enters, you guessed it, Sagittarius, on Tuesday, November 22nd at 2:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, where it shines its light until the winter solstice, also heading into Capricorn with the bunch on December 21st of this year. So this is a bit more of the same, isn't it? At this point, all of the Sagittarius energy, and remember, the sun represents life force energy itself, literally. So all of this Sag stuff is going to be a welcome shift. And Sagittarius, that mutable fire sign, is about shift, quest, play, development, travel. It is the going out to seek one's fortune and find God and learn stuff and enjoy the world. Beautiful, right? Well, the sun in Sagittarius is indeed nice. The sun is one of the triplicity rulers of fire signs, and so that sun enjoys some perks and power in the ninth sign here in Sagittarius. Think about fall weather in the northern hemisphere to get the vibe. November, early December. It's pretty nice, right? It's really nice, temperate, relatively, and full of holiday cheer. And if you're here in Texas, your Halloween was pretty warm just now, so maybe this sounds good. Many people also travel far and wide to visit relatives and loved ones during this Sagittarius time every year. It falls during American Thanksgiving, up onto the winter solstice, and you're usually where you're going to be at Christmas a couple days before, so travel is totally a sun in Sagittarius thing, and travel for love. Mutable fire has no boundaries or fixed forms. It is the energy of inquiry and passion that spreads out, like we've talked about in the previous two transits. So what to do during this sun in Sag time? Like I've stressed, enjoy yourself within reason. That Virgo, I won't let you forget. We've got to add that in to complete our square. And let your spirit be light as you settle into the holiday season of 2022. Perhaps with the sun in Sagittarius, you'll discover some positive rituals that you integrate into your routine during the upcoming cardinal earth sign Capricorn season. Cap is good for that, taking something good and building it. So get a little spiritual during the sun in Sagittarius transit. Make daily life sacred. Decorate your house. See what comes up and spend time occupied in a way that brings you inherent fulfillment. That looks different for us all, but it's going to look a whole lot like rising from the eclipse ashes, to use the phoenix metaphor yet again. The sun moving on and away from the south node, that karmic drain, will also have us more energized and generally active and less stressed. It's going to settle down soon in December, so look forward to some more moderate skies and more easy days very soon. For now, let us finish up and briefly outline the upcoming quality of time. So the next couple of weeks after this total lunar eclipse will be dramatic, compulsive, destabilizing, novel, and highly charged. Now that we have described the vibe, let's move into a few do's and don'ts for this intense Taurus eclipse lunation. Do enjoy yourself. Take time to move in ways that feel good and bring you life. Don't overdo it on anything. Your mind, your heart, and your spirit will be enthusiastic, but keeping it realistic keeps you healthy. Do take off and enjoy more activities outside and around your friends. Don't socialize with the people that make you feel small. Instead, join groups that bring you passion and fulfillment as you join them. Do learn something new. Sagittarius loves novelty and good information about the truth of living. Don't get so caught up in quests and academic pursuits that you neglect your tribe and family. And that concludes this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus edition of the show. Stay grounded and feel happy wherever you can during this earth-shaking eclipse astrology. Remember to subscribe to, save, and share this podcast as you find it helpful. It definitely helps us. See all of y'all here in a couple of weeks. That's it for this episode, folks. Meet me here every full and new moon for more cosmic wisdom. For now, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Ruth Tate and at Text Astrology, or between the pages of my book, Meditations on Being, available on Amazon and wherever else you purchase books.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.